Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tea Time, not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. And today I am joined by Mr. Chromey. We just had a fantastic podcast, and I am drinking the black and white iced tea. Actually, we got it for the whole crew today.
Yeah, everybody has it. I've never had it before. Arizona, I like Arizona because it's always the affordable one. It's the affordable iced tea, but it's one of those things that it's like it's a nostalgia one. Like growing up, you just see it, and I don't think it's ever changed. So,
cheers, my friend.
Thank you again, and God bless you for everything that you're doing.
What do you think? First sip. You gotta ask people always.
I need a second sip.
Oh, it's like that pizza thing from Barstool.
Mild, refreshing. I taste the honey. Ginseng is very mild. Refreshing.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Awesome. So, yeah, that's the black and white tea. That's my go-to flavor. Welcome to Tea Time, and we're just going to dive right into it. There are a few things going on in the world lately, okay, and one of the utmost things that I want to talk about is all these train derailments, okay, as of recent.
Okay.
This is honestly really pissing me off, okay? It really is, because I think we've had 4 train derailments within a week.
Are you talking about what's going on in the news right now? Sorry, I had to move everything.
Well, yeah, the news, but, there's, all right. So,
well, highlight specific things because I would like to know, because there is one that I'm very aware of.
The one in Ohio?
Okay, yeah, that one right away, we can, like, that right there is, like, I'm already upset over that. I understand because I've talked to several people about it, but I still don't think it's right. I mean, right now, there's pollution's in the air. From supposedly what I've seen is that there is a wind gust flowing our way, so now it's heading towards our state. From supposedly what I've seen. I don't like to talk about controversial things. I'm not a big controversy guy, but I don't believe it was a smart thing to do, in my opinion. And people can agree to disagree. That's all I have to say. I'm not looking to fight.
It's interesting that you don't like controversy because I feel like tea time is where things get
which is why I'm trying to give everybody a fair warning, so don't play hate me.
So
I am a little biased.
No, so we've had 4. I know there was one in Ohio, East Palestine. There's one in Texas, but that one wasn't more so a train derailment. That was like a truck that crashed into the train. Yeah, that was bad.
What was on it? Was there anything crazy on it?
I think I saw that there weren't any hazardous materials on it.
Many people die. Amount of people die.
Only person who died was the truck driver.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. I was like, wow, but so that happened. And then I know that there was one, I believe, in Georgia. Okay, and that one is have had chemicals in it as well, hazardous chemicals.
That's interesting.
Okay, but what I find most interesting about it is that it happened 4 times within like a matter of a week and a half. Like, is it chaotic? Is it so really superstitious to think that
I love superstition.
Someone or something is sabotaging these trains?
All right, so like I said, I don't like to get into controversy, but I don't believe that there is coincidences, I guess you can say. I believe that there are things that are sometimes deliberate, and I would have to look more into the other trains, but there's definitely some weird things going on. And I'm not saying to be a born-again Christian and, the ends are coming and all that stuff. I'm not trying to do that, okay? But there are certain things that are starting to come up that are, like, a little scary. And for me, the trains are a big thing. But another thing is, like, what happened with, like, the Rihanna show and everything like that. There's some stuff that, if you take yourself out of it, it kind of just doesn't really make sense right now, at least in my eyes.
Now, I understand what you're saying. I mean, the Rihanna show, I just saw someone reposted it. I didn't watch it live. I was driving home.
Yeah.
But we were talking about that yesterday, and there are some pretty interesting things, thought to be satanic. So definitely something. It's one of those superstitions. I mean, listen, Rockefeller Center many times have said that, Illuminati, they're, that type of thing, like it's not foreign in the music industry.
Not at all.
For that stuff to happen. But
it's been very mainstream. It's become more accepting of like, okay, this is what it is. Like there's shows about it. People are making fun of it. Like it's just kind of it's at the point where it's like no longer a superstition. It's more of like a trend.
Yeah, it's kind of that's crazy, but that is true. Yeah,
think about that. That's the scary part.
Back to the trains real quick. Back to the trains. So here's something I was thinking about is like, people should the United States should really inspect their railroad tracks. I do believe that it's possible that something may be happening, or it's also a fact of age and how long these tracks have been there.
Yes.
Because if you build, like I tell my customers, if I'm over here fixing a refrigerator, like, well, it worked for 12, or it worked like that for 12 years. And I'm like, yeah, well, shit just dies, like it's eventually going to deteriorate no matter how well you take care of it. So like what I want to suggest is maybe do a pause on the trains and really inspect these railroads. I want to look more into that as far as like how often are tracks inspected? How often are tracks rebuilt? But I also feel like because that type of transportation is so vital to our economy that they will not stop the train production. Because I was even hearing that from that Ohio East Palestine, that while they were doing the cleanup for the wreckage, trains were still going by on the track like right next door to it. Like there's not something that just happened here.
Well, again, when we look at like today's world, it's crazy how much we're so driven and dependent on different things that are everybody's will and everybody's understanding. I mean, I even saw a post the other day that said, and I reposted it somewhere. It was basically like, back in the day, like almost 50% of Americans had food growing in their backyard, like way back in the day. And the next thing you know, 45% of Americans all of a sudden stopped like growing all their food. And they were becoming more dependent on like stores and other people doing it. And now it's today about almost 1% rarely even grow their own food in their backyard. Yeah, we have vegetables. Yeah, we have those things, but we don't actually have sustainability, and we're more reliant on other people. And in turn, like, yeah, the railroads are gonna deteriorate because look how old they are.
Yeah.
I mean, how often are we actually gonna focus on that industry itself? I mean, it's one of those dying industries because unfortunately, railroads are not gonna actually be 100% viable. It's not a form of transportation. We're looking at airs, we're looking at sea, we're looking at different ways to tear down different like roads and other infrastructures just to build more transportation roads. I mean, honestly, I've seen my area, Mount Pocono, a beautiful area, wonderful. I'm not shaming it for trying to be more economic and getting more business and stuff, but they tore down a bunch of trees, and now there's all these things going in there that are going to provide jobs and resources and other things, but now we're relying on more people, and I'm just looking at it as, it's a monopoly in a sense. Like there's definitely things afoot that are being monopolized to try to wave and put things into different perspectives. How often do you actually use a railroad for transportation anymore? Or even like goods? It's starting to become really rare. We have big goods, yes, like chemicals, things like that, gas, but you're not really gonna see it as often. We have more people putting the trains away than actually building more trains. What are we building more of? What's being more dependent on man?
And you're thinking that it's like kind of people that they're depending on, I guess. I mean, you're saying that it's a dying industry, the train industry. I honestly don't foresee it going away at all, ever.
I don't see it going away, but I don't see it being maintained the way it needs to. That's what I mean by dying. I don't mean like when something's dying, like it's gone away. Like you're dying. You're not dead. You're dying. So there's a process that it's going through. So it's going through a process where it's not being reevaluated. Maybe now this is the season where it's being evaluated because now we had such detrimental ones that it's like, hey, we have to be awake. There's something going on that obviously the trains are not being taken care of. So that's where it becomes, okay, is it something that we're using liably? Is it something that's going to provide more of a resource? Because that's what's going to happen next. They just had all these accidents. I'm sure they're going to reevaluate it and go, is this something that we really want to keep doing? Or what's going to be the easiest thing to save us money?
I think it's going to come down to money, obviously. It's going to come down to money. And I think that they're going to continue on with these. Honestly,
you can build 1,000 bridges, but they'll always remember the one you burned down.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
I've gotten told that plenty of times.
Well said, man. Well said. There was one quote that was in my head yesterday, and I talked about it. It's one hand can wash the other, both hands can wash the face. How do you take that?
Wait, what? Say that again.
One hand can wash the other, both hands can wash the face. What do you make of that?
Wow, that's actually like a hard one to process right now. One hand can wash the other, but then both hands can wash the face. I'm gonna have to definitely pray on that one. Okay. That's a hard one to pray on because the way I'm actually analyzing it, I have to analyze it is you understand like one hand washes the other, like it's you taking care of somebody else. But when two hands are washing the same face, it's two people taking care of one thing. Almost in a sense, I'm looking at it again, like how can we work as people if we're going to take care of something?
How do you look at that, Mike?
Yeah, let's push.
I'm gonna chime in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna chime
I
in
need
here.
deeper thought on that. You need to chime in, big boy.
Me and Charlie were talking about it yesterday.
Hey,
On your
hello.
story.
Yes.
So yeah, one hand washes the other, and then two hands wash your face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess, like, honestly, bro, I was kind of lost.
It's a deep one, bro. It's like,
It's a deep one.
because to me, like, okay, so again, being born again, it makes me think about God. I don't know what it makes you think of.
I'm thinking about, like, it's kind of like, I guess, like, your hands can, like, did you come up with that yourself, Kevin?
No. It's from a song. It's from a JID song. He goes.
Oh, okay.
He goes. One hand can wash the other. Both hands can wash his face. And then he goes, "I'ma stand beside my brother." And then.
Okay, so if you go
Alright.
into deep with more of that, it makes
hold
sense.
on, but listen, that's still like
Stand-
that's still a,
It's still a
Standing
hard
by my
one.
that's what I
brother.
took out from it. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So I guess, like, you know, someone else, like, a hand has its other hand's back, right? Like, it'll
Yeah.
always help wash the other hand, and then put them together. That creates a bond to create something bigger,
Correct.
washing your face, right? So
Okay.
it's kind of like, you know,
But what's the face?
the face is like creating something bigger. So it's like you guys.
So
you guys-
teamwork, in a say.
Yeah, like teamwork. You guys
Okay.
make a bond, and then you guys have that bond now, and you have something to make, you know, something greater. It's like two artists working together. Like, I helped you, you helped me. Let's make an album together.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I like that. See, that's
what I
better
see
to
it
look
as.
at it.
Right
That's
when
a-
you said, like, stand by my brother.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's the fourth interpretation of that, and my saying of it is a little bit different. It was a little bit
Let's
different.
hear it,
Cheers.
let's hear it.
Mine is very similar to yours in the beginning, as far as one hand can wash the other, as in like we're gonna help each other. You know, I can one hand I can wash Chromey's hand, his hand can wash my hand, right? Both hands can wash the face. Your own two hands can wash your face. That's how I look at it. You know,
So
so
go deep into that. What do you mean by both hands can wash your face?
So you can help someone, right? Your one hand can wash the other. You're helping someone, but you also should help yourself. Both hands can wash your face. That's how I look at it. You know, like when I see two hands, when they're talking about two hands, I'm not looking at it as in both hands being joined. I'm looking at it as your own two hands. You see what I'm saying? No.
No, I do. There's just so many different ways of interpreting this. And
Like you're saying, like, your own two hand, it's its own thing.
Yeah,
different from-
because you two are saying the two hand part is like the both of you guys are joining together right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it as my two hands, not you and me. You see what I'm
but
saying?
I'm saying, like, I guess, all right, because the both. So I mean, like, both your hands. You're trying to say, like, I'm thinking both hands of two different people. You know what I mean?
yeah, because when you listen to that quote
I
and you
think you're
hear
thinking
it,
about
you're
it
thi-
as
the hardest thing with that quote is like the two hand part, because you immediately like you hear that. I mean, I that's even like, again, taking care of your brother. Like the next verse, it's specifically coherent to okay, having each other's back. I scratch your back, you scratch my back, and then when it comes to the face part, it almost feels as though what that person is saying is how you're almost interpreting it with the face, and you're interpreting it with the teamwork. But in sense, it's almost like we have to self-reflect and look at how those two people take away our face. Because remember earlier, I talked about how we have several faces and masks, and how we can't keep the same face with every person. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. You're going to see more vulnerable. I'm going to see more vulnerable. We let go of a face. We let go of a guard. So I'm looking at it that, like, I'm looking more like, okay, it's in that perspective. Because now, like, the next verse is the brother part. Now you're building that bond. Because it's interesting enough. There's a thing I saw on, I think it was like social media or something, and it said it was like a Chinese thing, I think, and it talked about how there's several faces that we have. We have the faces of the people that we see. We have the faces of the family we're around, and then we have the faces of ourselves. There's three faces that we have, three masks, and basically we're always going to put on a different mask. Like I'm putting on a mask right now to have to be professional and be more here and coherent and be like a certain way, but then my family's going to see me a different perspective. But then the person who's closest to me is going to see me a different perspective. And then I'm going to see myself in a different perspective. And then when you look at yourself in that sense, when you take away that mask and you look at everybody around you, that's what matters. And right now I'm in a season where I got to appreciate the people around me. So it's weird that you're talking about that and that you brought that quote up.
It's so crazy. That's all big.
I mean, there's only one person that really knows the meaning.
The artist, right?
I mean, yes, the artist knows the meaning 100%, but I'm just saying when I hear that, it's like, wow, that's like a deep quote, and I'm just thinking like, what was he thinking? In my head, it's like that's probably what I would say he was thinking, but I don't know. I'd have to ask him.
I'm
See you in the
going.
bathroom.
I'm going to his concert March 1st. If I get up
Ask
there,
him. Ask him. Bring him on the show.
I would love to, bro.
He's gonna be like, I just made that up.
He's gonna be like, yeah.
It just rhymed, bro. It just rhymed. And honestly, what's crazy is I tweeted one of his lyrics, right? And it blew up on Twitter, bro. I was like Twitter famous for like a day or two, right?
I love when you get like that little like jolt, and it's like, oh my god, like 500 people saw me.
Heck yeah, 100%. And the
1,000.
reason being is because it's like, so all right. So the thing is, the lyric is ironic that being broke is an expensive lifestyle. So I tweeted when JID said, ironic that being broke is an expensive lifestyle. I felt that. You know, like I felt that
This
shit.
is one of those old school. I felt that.
And he was the first person to like it.
See, the funny thing is how the algorithm works, dude. Like social media and stuff. Like it's so interesting, human psychology, and just how like things like that work. Because if you probably hadn't done it in that moment at that specific, it's also, you know, it's godly in a sense. I'm gonna say that because I'm not just gonna give it up to just man and technology. But if you hadn't put that down in that moment, saying those specific words, he would have not saw it and had that feeling to go, I'm gonna repost that. Like you were significant enough in that moment for him to be like, I acknowledge you, and for us to take a moment and just like reflect on that, think about how small this world is.
True.
Not how big it is.
No, 100%, because you know he's out there. He's a top artist. He signed with Dreamville. You know he's signed by J. Cole. He's like that. He's that guy.
I think I had Chris Gongronski. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Chris Gongronski. I think he makes like ice shaker. I think it's Chris that makes it. I used to follow him on Instagram. I had him reach out like years ago to me on LinkedIn and say like, hey, would you like to be a broker for ice shaker? This guy was a blue check mark, like ex NFL player starting up his own business. I didn't answer. I was nervous. I basically rejected it, and now all of a sudden, like Shark Tank, and then all of a sudden, like mainstream fitness stuff, and now he's like blown up, and I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, God gave me an opportunity to work with Chris, and I completely blew that.
Damn.
But again, I
about
allowed
that?
fear and anxiety to get in my way, and that's the worst thing to let happen to you. So don't ever be afraid to take opportunities. Take chances.
You
Just
miss
make sure they're not stupid.
you miss every single shot that you don't take. And I actually, so Arizona Iced Tea Time. You know, I'm been trying to get the sponsorship monetization. And
Have you
honestly,
reached out to them, like email,
Oh,
Instagram, all that?
I've spoken to them in my Instagram. Like they've hit me up.
That's
I've hit
good.
them up. Like they
Sponsor this man, guys. I fully endorse him. I'm about to just donate money to him next.
It's like we're flirting.
Ooh,
Seriously,
you guys have a
we're-
nice little
yeah,
relationship
we're
going?
we're in a talking stage.
Okay.
Is someone's phone vibrating, or am I going
that's,
nuts?
No, that's me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have like the worst vibration. ever.
Sorry, that was really loud. But listen, so I when 2023 started up, he tweeted like, "Happy New Year. I'm the CEO of Arizona. His name's Don. I keep forgetting his last name. I know it starts with a V. It's Italian as hell, so I just don't know how to pronounce it. But he was like, ask me a question, and he's still answering questions, and you just have to hashtag Ask Don, right? You have to hashtag Ask Don, and he's still answering questions. I just saw he answered a question this week from the first day of 2023. So I went on Twitter and I said, "Hi, my name is Kevin Martinez. I am the host of the Middleman Podcast." Listen, we'll find a tweet right now. We'll find a tweet
We're
right
gonna
now.
call him out right now.
Yeah. He hasn't answered, but nonetheless, you know, taking a shot. We'll see what happens, right? So, replies. Let's see where it's at. Here we go. All right, so here it is. Happy New Year's. It's me, Don Voltaggio. CEO of Drink Arizona, and I want to answer your questions. Tweet at me with Ask Don, and I'll get back to you when I can. I said, hello, Don. Kevin Martinez here. I am the host of the Middleman Podcast. I've created a segment called Tea Time, not brought, and I put in quotations, not brought to you by Arizona Iced Tea, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea. One day I hope to change that slogan to brought to you by Arizona Iced Tea.
Dude, he has the pitch. Come on, just give this guy a chance.
How can I achieve my goal? ? Ask Don.
Well, hopefully it is to be told, because I think he should give it an opportunity. The way this guy right here, if he is watching this video one day, I'm gonna definitely say like he's definitely has something. And I'm somebody who's been in and out of different fields, and I've seen different potentials, and I've worked with different people. And I might be a small person that might be not that significant to someone who has a big corporation like that, but I can attest right now this guy has something for him. So you need to definitely give him the opportunity. And if you are watching this and God's talking to you, give him the opportunity.
You know, I will say, from not even knowing a guy, I do think that he is a man of the people. You know,
I've seen the company. I've talked heavily about them, like just in chit chat with people, like about how they are, and they're a good company. I mean, the fact of the matter is that through inflation, they're the one company that has never changed their price. They are literally still 99 cents, not even with tax. You can literally go in there and just have $1, and you can get this nice sized drink and literally drink it as much as you want.
Exactly.
Like the fact of the matter is that they provide back more than they ask for, and that's a God-given gift. That's gracious.
And with that being said, we're gonna wrap up tea time. Thank you for joining me here, Mr. Chromey. Thank you for
Kevin,
watching.
I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody, this opportunity, everything going on, and God bless everybody.
Thank you for watching Tea Time, not brought to you by, but inspired by Arizona Iced Tea.